1986 Olympics. As a decathlon female, would that have changed the outcome? Would there have been a different accomplishment just because he would be or she would be female? Well, it would be amazing regardless of her gender. The main question is, should transgenders be allowed to play in their desired sport that they identify with? When I first thought about this, I thought that it was unfair, as you could have a transgender female that would go into a female dominant sport to where they would have more testosterone when they first join, so where they would be in a male body, and by being in a male body, they would be more physically have a more physical advantage than over females. But after doing my research, my perspective changed. I realized that that was a complete stereotype, and what am I to judge someone's feelings? Transgender is pretty much born into the wrong gender. By pretty much the person believes that they are physically and psychologically the opposite of their gender that they were at birth. There are no extraneous factors that affect this. Rather, it is their reality, and how could anyone judge this fact? So, transgender is a huge prominent topic right now in the sports industry, and as myself, as a Parks and Rec major with a concentration in sports management, I know that this is going to be a prominent topic for the future. So that is why I chose to research about this topic. And as I've said before, transgender describes an individual's whose internal psychological identification is either they from a boy or a man, or a girl or woman, does not match the person's sex at birth. So for example, a male to female transgender is someone who was born a male but then identifies themselves as a female. And this would be the exact opposite for a female to male transgender. So according to Levitt, Changing Sex and Changing Teens from 2013, about 0.6 of our population, which is about 1.4 million people, are identified as transgender. And this number, according to research, is supposed to grow even more. So this shows that this is a prominent topic that we need to discuss and be aware of. Gender inequality is so common in today's age that even sports are even separated into male and female leagues. But now perhaps it's time to rethink gender classification in sports. According to Morse in the article Allowing Transgender Olympians is Unfair to Women, published in 2016, they state the objection to transgenders playing in their desired sports by saying that having a transgender woman play in a woman-dominant sport, it will create an unfair advantage for them, as they would be having more testosterone, like I said before, that will create them to have a more physical advantage over the other athletes. As also stated, the transgender girls who medically transition at an early age and do not go through male puberty does not affect their participation in athletics, as they did not raise the same equality concerns that arise from when a transgender woman has a transition after puberty. So, while they state these oppositions in Ellie's article, Extraordinary Body Self-Narratives from 2017, they talk about how to pretend to be a female was complete fraud, as there's no cases against that of anyone trying to pretty much be a transgender, because that would be fraud, because of course they're lying against it because they want to have a competitive advantage. While there are no cases against this, and from this, the NCAA knows that it's such a common topic to where they have created policies. According to Griffin in the NCAA inclusion of transgender student athletes from 2011, a female to male transgender are allowed to play in either male or women's sports because they have no such testosterone, as it would not create a physical advantage for them, so they're able to play whenever they want. Compared to a male to female transgender, if they had no hormone treatment, then they would not be allowed to play in their desired gender. So, but what the NCAA creates is where they have to take pretty much like a gap year, where they are taking these hormone blockers or estrogen pills, where it pretty much limits the amount of testosterone in their body, and then it will reduce the physical shape of them. So then this will create a more competitive sporting. Sorry, hold on. By reducing the testosterone levels during this 1 year, it will take away the physical abilities of a male that the opposers of transgender athletes are worried about. While the NCAA does this, the Olympics does the same thing, very similarly. According to Lucas's articles, What is the T in LGBT from 2011, the Olympics follow the same exact policies as the NCAA, but they change it to 2 years instead of 1 year so that they can ensure that there will be no competitive advantage. And also by doing this, as you guys know, the Olympics happen every 4 years, so they have flexibility by doing 2 years, while compared to the NCAA, you're only here for 4 years for college, so that can only affect you as that would sacrifice 2 years of your athletic career. While the NCAA's policy and the Olympics policy is fair, more must be done. Why not create a thing called mixed competitive sports leagues, where this would be a co-ed league where athletes can come together and still be competitive, and this will promote competitive nature, and as well, it would be gender neutral, promoting gender equality. Every athlete can choose what league they want to be in, so it never discriminates gender. The transgenders would not be criticized for playing in the league, as this could be pretty much the gap league, where if they have to take those estrogen pills or if they have to take testosterone reduction, then they can go into this league and not have to worry about admitting that they are transgender. Overall, by creating these leagues, it would limit the amount of criticism these transgender athletes are going through. So the main reason these leagues would be created, as I said, it would limit the criticism and judgment behind gender discrimination. According to the article, The Transgender Athlete, written in 2012 by Tori, he provides the story of Keelan Gonzi, which is him right there, and where he talks about the difficulties of being a transgender and being a hammer thrower for the Olympics. He always talked about in his story where when he was an Olympian, people always disregarded his athletic ability just because he was a transgender. And this truly affected his mindset to where he had to conquer this mindset and realize that he had to balance between being an athlete and to choose his identity. This story shows the difficulty that a transgender athlete goes through every day. These forms of discrimination need to stop, as these are affecting people from not focusing on their craft of being an athlete, but rather they're having to worry about their safety as a person and worry about defining their identity. According to Ryan's article, Title X and Drive for Gender Equality in Sports, published in 2012, 87% of transgenders have been called names or threatened because of their gender expression. 26% have been punched, kicked, or injured with a weapon. These are all common statistics that these people face daily, and these need to be limited so people can be themselves and not have to worry about others affecting them. So overall, to take action upon these issues, we have to not judge by sexual preference like we have. We can't judge by race. We cannot judge by religion. We cannot judge by financial status. And now we cannot judge by gender. And as well, I challenge you all to be aware of transgenders and be aware of the hardships that they are going through, as well as to support these athletes, as probably the majority of us in here played high school sports or once have followed sports or are aware of athletes. And it's such a tedious task to be an athlete where you can support these athletes just simply by supporting them. It helps them so much. There will always be inequality in society, and according to Lyris's Sport and Social Change from 2009, each issue of inequality can be conquered through three things: education, awareness, and tolerance. And of course, transgenderism is currently one of these issues. So by us as college students, we have the opportunity to be forerunners in this movement and create equality for them by simply having awareness, education, and tolerance. Thank you.